Chapter 1. First Impact.
I'm Dana. I'm 19 years old. I studied medicine. I still don't know which branch to choose, although that's not important right now. Today I decided to steel myself to tell Albert about my feelings towards him. I'm nervous. Don't know how to take it since we've been best friends since we were 10 years old. He's a few years older than me anyway. Today I am going to confess my feelings to Albert. I'm afraid that he will reject me, but as my grandmother says, he who does not risk loses, and I am going to risk a lot, since I could lose his friendship. Albert is a handsome boy with hazel eyes. He's been a firefighter for 6 months, and he's practicing that career, and today I'll surprise him at the fire station. I leave the house and get in the taxi. I ask him to take me to the fire station. We are there in an hour. He paid and got out. My legs are shaking like jelly and my hands are sweating. Dana, what brings you here? One of Albert's classmates tells me, "Hey, I came to see Albert. He's here or some mission came out." I say nervously. I saw him polishing the captain's boots. He smiled. I look in the background and see him without his shirt. That makes my cheeks burn. "Dana!" he exclaims, running towards me, hugs me so tight, places a kiss on my forehead. "And that you see me on a weekday. I have a week off from college. That's great. We should go out tonight. We can go to the movies and then end up at a fast food stand. I feel like I'm losing my line," he says jokingly. "I think you look good," I say without thinking. "You think?" I nod. "We can talk," I say, playing with my hands. "If you come, let's sit down. I want to talk to you too." He takes me by the waist, leading me to one of the stools. "Tell me what you want to talk to me about," I asked, intrigued. "No, you tell me first. The ladies first. Tell me what's going on. You're not going to study abroad, right?" "It's nothing like that, Albert. I'm sorry. It's that he always anticipated things, right? I'm sorry. Tell me what is that you have to tell me." I sigh. "Albert, I wanted to tell you that I appreciate you very much and I appreciate our friendship, but for some time now I have realized something, and I wanted to tell you that you—" He was silent when he heard the alarm.
"We'll have to save this conversation for later. Dana, duty calls."
He stands up.
"Don't go. I'll be right back," he says, running inside.
I remain pensive. I feel an anguish in my chest. Within a minute, 3 fire trucks come out and the ambulance behind. "I love you, Dana!" he yells from inside the cab of the truck. "I love you too, but above all, I love you," I say to the air. The minutes kept passing until an hour had passed. Despair took over me. I went in to see what was happening and why they didn't come back. "You're Dana, right?" asks me one of the boys who is on duty. "Yeah, come with me." "Where to?" I asked.
"You'd better talk to the captain. You know about Albert's relatives."
"What happened to Albert?" "I don't know. There was an accident." I deny. "Albert is fine, right?" "He's all right." "Tell me what's all right," I say with tears in my eyes. "Please come with me." I walk with him. We get into one of the cars. "I don't know for sure. I'm just the rookie who is testing. My heart is racing more and more. I have a bad feeling, and I didn't believe much in those things. I felt my heart in my mouth. When I got to the place, there was smoke everywhere. I could count 5 more ambulances. I got out as soon as the car parked and went directly to where the captain was. I already knew him since Albert went to work. "What happened, sir?" "Dana, I'm so sorry," he says with a sad look on his face. "Tell me what happened." "We were on the top floor putting out the fire. Albert and 2 other colleagues went to the roof where the fire originated. We did not know that the place was giving way. Albert was the first to enter, and the floor collapsed. He fell along with the rubble. When we went to get him out, the other part of the roof gave way and fell on him, Dana. We're trying to get him out. He doesn't answer the radio. I fear the worst, Dana. Maybe he—" I deny each of his words. "Please don't say it. He's fine. He has to be fine. Tell me that he'll be fine. To get him out of there, please," I say, crying, and with a strong oppression in the chest. "He'll be fine. I am held in his arms. We're doing everything possible to get it out, but I can't tell you if it'll be okay. Several reinforced concrete beams fell on it. No, he can't leave me." Every minute became more agonizing for me. I prayed to heaven that my Albert was okay. I was experiencing the most agonizing minutes of my life. It was such raw agony that I felt like my soul was leaving my body with the passing of seconds. Half an hour later, I heard that they said on the radio that they had found it and that they were taking it out, but the place was giving way again. I understood that it was a work risk, and Albert and his family were aware of the risk of being a firefighter, and I had it clear but not my heart. "We got him out," they said over the radio.
That they have the ambulance ready, and that the hospital prepared to receive him.
My heart galloped faster. Everything happened so fast that when I reacted, I was walking directly to where Albert's companions came from. Seeing his body full of dust with wounds everywhere made me cry the most bitter of my life. I threw myself on his body as soon as they placed it on the stretcher. "You can't leave me," he said, beating his chest.
"Albert, you can't leave me. Please, I love you, Albert, I love you. That's what I was going to tell you, that I love you. Someone took the stretcher off me. They put it in the ambulance while someone took it to a car. I went up looking at the abundance as it moved away at full speed and with the siren on, the car where it was also put on the siren, and began to follow the ambulance while thousands of scenes went through my head. Someone brought a glass of coffee to my hands. I blinked. Without knowing where I was, one saw doctors go from one place to another. I looked at the person who gave me the glass. It was the captain. I took the glass and brought it to my lips with the shot of caffeine reacted, realizing I was in the hospital. "Albert?" I asked, hiccuping. "He's in surgery. They had to take him to an emergency." "Who signed the order?" "You don't need to sign an order if it was an emergency." I nodded. I was so lost that I had forgotten that point. For an emergency surgery, you didn't need the permission of a relative. They just notified, and that's it. In addition, Albert signed a consent before entering the fire department. They haven't given any news yet. You have communication with his family. I nodded. I already communicate with them. He took out my cell phone and dialed his mother's number, Mrs. Morelli Albert. "What about Albert, Dana?" "He was in an accident." "That? It's fine, right? I don't know his status yet." A silence fell on the line. "Dana, my son is fine." "I don't know, Mr. Morelli, We're already on our way there."
The call was closed. My tears came out in quantity. I had no idea where so many came from. About 8 hours later, several doctors came out. "Relatives of Albert Morelli." He lifted me up like a spring. "I am his friend. His relatives have not arrived yet. Maybe I will arrive tomorrow. Could you please tell me how he is?" "We can only give information to their relatives. Please, I beg you." I looked at them beseechingly. "I'm sorry I can't." With that, they left me in a sea of doubts and a lake of pain. "I should have said it was his sister," I said to myself. "They did everything they could, but unfortunately the young man is in a coma. That's the only thing I'll tell him." I turned to the voice.
Like you know."
My lips trembled. "I was in the room, but on the other side, I'm Oliver, an internal surgery doctor. Thank you for the information, Dr. Oliver. It doesn't matter, Dana."
"Dana, see you duty calls."
The tears spilled out uncontrollably again. "I couldn't ask anything about Albert. Hospital policies are very specific, and I think that sometimes they are ambiguous. If you are not a relative, they do not give information. Uncertainty won me over, and I went to ask at reception. I wanted to see it even from afar." "Good evening, young man. Could you give me information about the patient Albert Morelli Barden? He is a relative of the patient." "Yes, please tell me what your status is." "Relation to the patient?" "Cousin. The patient is in critical condition." Hearing that was like feeling my heart being emptied. "I can see. Not until the doctor orders it." I sat on the bench. I wasn't going to move from the seat until his parents arrived and told him exactly what Albert had or what had happened to him. At midnight, his parents and his younger brother appeared. "What do you know about Albert that you've been told?" "Nothing. Just that he's in a coma and his condition is critical. But I don't know what the magnitude of his condition is." My tears that I had managed to appease began to flow again. "I'll find out. Thanks for being here, Dana," Mr. Alberto tells me. "I'm staying with you." His parents went to reception. "How are you?" "I'm sick, Jared." I couldn't tell him anything. I couldn't tell him about what I felt for him, and if he doesn't wake up, tell me. Don't say that. He'll wake up.
Actually, I don't think so. You didn't see how he was after all that fell on him. But he'll get out of this, Dana. He's strong, plus he loves you as you love him.
He looked at him. He told me he was in love with you, but he didn't dare tell you. He wanted to tell you after you finished your studies. I hugged him and cried into his shoulder.
It can't be! Not my son!
The inconsolable cry of Albert's mother made my hair stand on end. We got up and walked inside, the heart-rending cry of Albert's mother letting me know that nothing was right. Mom, what's going on? Your brother is in a coma and may never wake up. He's brain dead from the beatings. He won't wake up. Only a miracle could wake him up. Hearing that left me in shock. No, no, no. I started to scream hysterically. Jared hugged me tight. I want to see it, please, I asked in a small voice. No, it won't be until tomorrow, commented one of the nurses. The hours went by. No one moved from the waiting room. At dawn, they told us that we could go one by one. The first to go was Mrs. Beatrice. Then it was her father, her brother, and lastly, I went. Seeing him squeezed my heart. His head was bandaged. One of his feet was in plaster, and his body was full of cables. In his mouth, he had a tube, and in his nose, he had a thinner one. The whole room was full of machines. One of the respirator, another where the beating of his heart that was beating at an accelerated rate was monitored. I linked my hand with his. Hello, Albert. I'm Dana. You can't leave me, Albert. Remember your promise. You said you'd be there for when I was a doctor, and I'm afraid that you won't be here anymore and see me achieve my goal. You can't leave me. You promised, and a promise can't be broken. My tears wet her hand.